The team winning everything has the engine the FIA just called second rate. The team winning nothing has the best engine on the grid, and it's banned from touching it. That's Formula One in 2026. Mercedes. 6 wins from 7 races, a championship lead that reads like a countdown, a car that's made winning look procedural. Red Bull. 0 wins, 4th in the Constructors, a driver sitting 7th. And the FIA has just officially ranked Red Bull's engine as the best in the sport, and Mercedes's as worse. Because that ranking isn't a trophy, it's a sentence. Under the new rules, the manufacturer judged to have the best engine is forbidden from making it better. No upgrades, no development, nothing. Meanwhile, every team ranked below them, Mercedes included, just got permission to improve. So the team that's losing has the engine it can't touch. The teams winning get to make theirs faster. And this didn't happen by accident or through some loophole nobody caught. The rule did exactly what it was written to do. It isn't a mistake the FIA is rushing to fix. It's the mechanism working precisely as designed. And the design has trapped the one team that could least afford it, in a way no appeal, no review, and no amount of talent behind the wheel can undo. Max Verstappen is the man carrying all of it. And for the first time in a long time, there's genuinely nothing he can do. To understand how a rule meant to help the weak ended up handcuffing them, you have to start with the rule itself. And on paper, it's almost impossible to argue with. It's called ADUO, Additional Development and Upgrade Opportunities. The FIA built it into the 2026 regulations to stop a single manufacturer running away with the sport, the way Mercedes did in 2014, when a new engine era handed them an advantage it took rivals years to claw back. It works like a handicap. The FIA measures every engine, and whoever falls behind the benchmark gets help, development tokens to close the gap. More than 2% behind, 1 token. More than 4% back, 2. And whoever sits at the top gets nothing. They're the best. They don't need help. Nicolas Tombazis, who runs this side of the FIA, explained it plainly. The fear was that a manufacturer starting behind could be condemned to permanent poverty, so far back they'd never recover, and simply give up and leave. A DUO was the safety net. A genuinely reasonable idea. Right up until you see who fell into it. Because here's the flaw that springs the whole trap. ADUO measures only 1/2 of the engine. The 2026 power unit is split almost down the middle. Roughly half its power is the internal combustion engine, and roughly half is electrical. And that electrical half isn't a quiet background system. It's a 350 kilowatt surge of battery power, nearly triple what the old cars deployed, dumped through the rear wheels on corner exit, the violent electric shove that fires a car down the straight. Whoever controls that surge best wins. It's where the 2026 season is actually being decided, and ADUO doesn't look at it at all. It measures the combustion half, only the combustion half. Now put Red Bull into that gap. In their first year as an engine manufacturer, a brand new operation built with Ford, no history of making a Formula One power unit, Red Bull produced a combustion engine the FIA's sensors measured as the strongest on the grid. Every car carries a standardized torque sensor, quietly logging power lap after lap, and across the first 5 races, Red Bulls came out on top. But the races aren't won on the combustion half. They're won on that electrical surge, the half ADUO can't see. And there, Mercedes is in a category of its own. James Vowles, who runs Williams on Mercedes Power, put it simply, Red Bull may have the strongest combustion engine, but Mercedes has the best deployment by a clear margin, the cleanest, hardest electric punch out of every corner on the calendar. So the rule crowned Red Bull king of 1/2 of the engine, then used that crown to lock them out, while ignoring the half where they're actually losing. They got punished for what they did well, and got no help with the thing that's beating them. And here's where it gets worse, because the engine isn't even Red Bull's biggest problem. The car around it is too heavy. The 2026 rules slash the minimum weight to 768 kilograms. The first real diet in the modern era, meant to make the cars smaller, sharper, more agile. Hitting it is, in the words of one technical director, brutally difficult, because the bigger batteries that power that electric surge are themselves heavy. And the RB22, according to leaked weighbridge data from the Chinese Grand Prix that spread across the paddock, is one of the heaviest cars on the grid, reportedly carrying around 12 kilograms of excess weight it can't shed. 12 kilos doesn't sound like much. In 2026, it's a catastrophe. Every 10 kilograms is worth roughly 0.3 of a second per lap, so that excess alone costs Verstappen close to 0.4 every lap before he's turned a wheel. And it doesn't stop at lap time. The extra mass loads the narrower 2026 tires harder, so they overheat and fall away faster, which forces earlier pit stops, which hands strategy to the rivals. Heavier braking, slower corner exits, leaning even harder on the electrical surge Red Bull is already losing on. A weight problem becomes a tire problem, becomes a deployment problem. And the one tool that could break that cascade, engine development, is the exact thing Aduo has bolted shut. Because every way out doubles back on itself. Could they appeal? They tried. Red Bull formally challenged the ruling, and the FIA agreed to recheck the first 5 races, 7 to 10 days of work. But they won't launch a full appeal, because there's no ground to stand on. The measurement is based on data they themselves agreed to use. Mickey's admitted it directly. The rule says to measure only the combustion engine. We have all agreed to that, and we don't think that is the issue. You can't appeal a result when you signed off on the method. Could they wait for the review? Even if the recheck shifts the numbers, it changes the token maths, not the car. It doesn't hand Verstappen a faster engine for Sunday. It adjusts a spreadsheet. Could they perform their way out? This is the cruelest part. The second assessment period is already running, and it closes at the Hungarian Grand Prix at the end of July. If Red Bull's combustion engine is still ranked best by then, their rivals get even more tokens. Performing well doesn't loosen the trap. It tightens it. The stronger their engine looks, the more locked out they become. And that Hungarian Grand Prix deadline isn't just an engine checkpoint. It's the date the whole season detonates, because Verstappen's contract has a clause. And the summer break is when it goes live. According to multiple reports, if he's not in the top 2 of the championship by the break, he can walk away from Red Bull unilaterally for free. Right now he's 7th, more than 100 points back, with no mathematical route to second. The clause is already active. The same Hungary deadline that could hand his rivals more development is the deadline that frees the best driver in the world from the team that can't fix his car. And the moment that clause opens, the driver market doesn't just shift, it explodes. Mercedes, best deployment, championship lead, has made its interest clear for 2 seasons. Aston Martin, armed with Adrian Newey and a works Honda engine, is circling. Every contract on the grid becomes a domino because the one name that moves the entire board might finally be available, not in some distant season, but this summer. So stack it up: an engine frozen by rule, a car too heavy to compete, a tire and deployment cascade with no way to stop it, a performance window that punishes success, and a contract deadline that could end the partnership entirely, all converging on the same few weeks. Verstappen is 7th in the championship, driving a car that's overweight, compromised on the electrical surge that wins races, and now frozen on the combustion side, the only place it's strong. And when you ask him about the ruling shaping all of it, listen to how little power he has over it. He's surprised, he says. They don't feel like the best. They're, in his word, baffled. Then comes the line that tells you everything. Naturally, I'm not involved in it on a daily basis, he said. So it's better to ask someone else how accurate these measurements are. A 4-time world champion, talking about the rule deciding his season the way a passenger talks about the weather. It's happening to him. He's not part of it. And that's the trap underneath the trap. Verstappen's whole identity is control, being the one variable that bends a race to his will. But you cannot outdrive a regulation. You cannot overtake a torque sensor reading. He can't appeal it because he's not the team. He can't outperform it because performing well only makes it worse. The one thing that could genuinely fix this, a rebalanced engine formula that leans back toward combustion, where his car is strong. He actually fought for and won, but it phases in slowly, and the full change doesn't arrive until 2028. The fix exists, it's just 2 years too late for the fight he's in right now. So imagine where that leaves him. It's the morning of the Hungarian Grand Prix, the last race before the summer break. Verstappen climbs into a car he knows is too heavy, on tires he knows will fade early, with an electrical surge he knows can't match the Mercedes ahead of him, and an engine nobody is legally allowed to improve. He's spent his whole career being the answer to every problem a team handed him. The wet weather drive, the impossible overtake, the lap that shouldn't have been possible. For the first time, he's strapped into a problem he cannot drive his way out of. No restart to nail, no braking zone to steal. The thing beating him isn't on the track at all. It's in a document. And on that same morning, a clock he didn't start finishes ticking. Finish outside the top two, which the maths already guarantees, and the door he negotiated swings open. He can stay and fight a trap that tightens every time he does well, or he can leave and turn the entire sports driver market upside down on his way out. That's the real cost of this rule, not a few tenths. Not one frustrating season. It's a four-time world champion being slowly, quietly engineered out of the fight, and possibly out of the team, by a regulation written to make the sport fairer. So here's the question worth sitting with. Is this rule protecting Formula One, keeping the field close, stopping the runaways, doing the job it was built to do? Or did it just freeze the best driver of his generation out of a title fight and hand him the reason to walk away? Depending on where you stand, a DUO is either the smartest rule in the sport or the most upside down. Tell me where you land in the comments.